Welcome to Exit Frag. I'm Zeph. I'm joined by my buddy Esports Andy. Today we're going to be talking about NRG and if they are the best team in Americas.
I've said this before that I kind of view offseason fence and stuff like kind of like scrims. You're kind of trying to. It's not the end of the world to like lose a match. You're kind of like not that pressured. The grand final isn't that crazy, but maybe that's like my view on the offseason is like not as serious as maybe the players view it as. But I feel like they don't view it as that serious.
I actually have the opposite point of view. I think if you look at Sentinels last year, the reason they were so successful is because they did take that time in the offseason to get like higher quality scrims. Now, are the like these match level um you know practices? No, I don't think anything ever comes close to a match where there are real stakes. But I think that there are definitely high quality scrims that do help these teams improve and gauge where they are. Now, to your point, yes, they're more scrim light because a lot of Sen City Classic and SOOP was on the old patch with Neon, where she was really good.
Mhm.
And coming into this season, we are probably going to be moving into a Tejo meta and a more like double dive, return to basics sort of Valorant with Jet and Raze. So I could see those being negative points, but I also want to raise the point that Mada has been incredibly consistent on duelists across the board. He is not particularly limited to one. He's not a one-trick pony. He's very good at every duelist he touches.
I, yeah, I definitely because Mata back because who did he play for? He played for
Moist
Moist,
duels. Yeah.
Moist, and he was always really good. He always could flex onto whatever he wanted on duels. Like I definitely think they're much better. They're going to be much better than last year. Like that's easy. That's easy. They were trash, even though they had really good players. This mashup does make more sense. They didn't just like dump everything and start a new team. They have Som and they have Ethan, and who I'm not like super high on. Like I know they're really good players, like, but I do think, in my opinion, they're a little overrated. um,
Yeah.
but maybe it's just because they're so hyped because of their because the NRG fan base or the fan base of Som or whatever. But I just I see that there's so much talent in the Americas with the teams that I think they're closer to like a fourth team.
That's respectable too. Like I don't think people realize that when Sentinels went into the kickoff tournament, they also somewhat struggled
Well,
at the
plan.
beginning. They
They had to go
lost
into
their first
plans.
match. They went to the lower bracket. They had to qualify through play-ins, and then at play-ins they came close to losing, but not quite. Um, Now, obviously, the playoff bracket is completely different, and there is a lot of talent in Americas. So I do still think that I see your point um, of maybe NRG being a little overhyped considering all the other talent in Americas. But I think qualitatively speaking, NRG have had much more time to prepare than a lot of other teams. If you look at even like the Brazilian region, maybe 2 GE prepared, you know, the
Mm.
longest in the Brazilians. You look at 100 Thieves, yeah, they could be a contender against them because they've had a more established roster. They're only replacing one player in Zander for Bang, so that core is staying intact. Same thing with G2. You're only replacing one player, and if at worst you're just slightly better than you were before. So there is other like heavy competition, but I really do still think that NRG are going to pull a lot of stops to wins. If you watch some of their games during off season, they're finding ways to win, which is completely opposite of what we saw from them in previous seasons,
Hmm.
where they would just find ways to lose. Like they would be up and then they would lose. C9 match being the
Yeah.
most extreme example, but you see it in other matches. They're up, they start losing the lead, they tilt, they're losing. It doesn't seem like this team is having that sort of problem.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I just think, and especially like I think people are expecting them to win the kickoffs or at least like qualify for Bangkok. I just think they're in a crappy situation going against G2 because G2 is one of the teams I feel like is for sure better than them. Like, I think there's only two teams, in my opinion, that I feel like are for sure better than them, which is G2 and Sentinels. I think those two, they're better. And then it gets kind of muddy. I think MIBR is better than them. And I think like Lev has a chance to be better.
I don't agree with Lev, but I'm super biased.
But like, and also like, I would even put Loud late in the season being someone that would contend for them with like a third place or fourth place spot. Like, that's why like I'm fearful that NRG might not even like. I think they'll make champs for sure. I don't know. I don't think they'll make it to Bangkok. I do not believe that because they have to play G2. They're gonna lose, so they're gonna have to go down to the lower brackets almost right away.
Right.
And that's pretty tough for two younger, like new players in tier 1. And Som coming back. I just think it's gonna be tough. Like, especially kickoff, there's only 2 spots to make it, and they have to play G2 so quick. That's my whole like.
That's true. That's true. They do have to play G2 in the second round, and G2 are a much more disciplined team. They play a lot slower pace. They're more methodical. I could see that being an issue. Historically speaking, FNS has struggled calling against Valen. So I see your points. I see your points for them going through the lower bracket. Now, I don't really see anyone in the lower bracket beating them. I mean, we already did the pick'ems, but if it was my pick'ems, they're going pretty much to the lower final. Who they faced in the lower final, I don't know. But
and that's like because that's why I have them. Like, if I was doing like a power ranking, I would never put them lower than 5th, and I'd never put them higher than 3rd.
Okay. Yeah,
and because it just depends. I guess I would have to see MIBR play a match. I would need to see Loud play a match, and even Lev, I guess, do it. But they're not going to really play anyone until they either play NRG or G2, unless they lose to Furia or to. Well, I guess this would ever be.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to see. I still have NRG top 3 for sure.
Top 3
for me.
Who would you have as your other 2? Because you'd have G2, and would you have Sentinels as the other one?
G2 Sentinels, if they get the ball rolling, if they fix some of their off-season woes, I think they are a top 2 team. G2, Sen, NRG.
Okay, yeah, I could get behind that. I still think that they will go to 4th, and I think they'll only make 1 international. I think they will only make champions. That's my bold prediction. People can get mad at me. People can go down and get really annoyed with me not being on the NRG bandwagon. But hey, I like the team. I like the players. I just think it's not as good as everyone's saying.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
By the time this video is posted, the match will take place in like 5 hours. So this is a nice little preview for you guys in order to get ready for the game that's going to happen hopefully today. So this has been Esports Andy. I'm Zeph. Subscribe to our channels, Esports Andy on YouTube and Zeph Valorant. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.